Hello there. Come in. Sit down for a moment with me. It's good to see you. I'm Dr. Arthur Caldwell. For many years now, over 40 if I'm counting right, I've had the privilege of sitting with people, listening to their hearts, not just through a stethoscope, mind you, but listening to the deeper rhythms of their lives, their joys, their worries, and yes, sometimes their aches that aren't just physical. We talk about blood pressure and joints, about sleep and diet, but just as often, we talk about life, about connection, about love, and sometimes about the quiet, unsettling feeling when love seems to be fading. It's a tender subject, isn't it? Especially when you've shared decades with someone, built a life, raised a family, navigated the countless storms and sunny days together. The idea that the person sleeping beside you, the one whose habits you know like the back of your hand, might be slowly, quietly, emotionally drifting away. It's a thought that can send a chill right through you, no matter the season. It's a fear many carry silently, perhaps thinking it's just a rough patch, or maybe even blaming themselves. Today, I want to talk about this gently, with care, not to cause alarm, but to foster understanding. Because recognizing these subtle shifts, these early whispers of emotional distance, is the first step. It doesn't always mean the end. Sometimes it's a call to reconnect. But ignoring them? That often leads to deeper heartache down the line. As a doctor, I know that ignoring subtle symptoms in the body can lead to serious problems. The same is true for the heart, for the health of our most cherished relationships. So, let's explore this together. Think of this as a quiet conversation, just you and me, looking at some of the earliest signs that someone you love might be emotionally pulling away. Consider these not as definitive proof, but as gentle prompts for awareness, for reflection. The first sign, and often the most pervasive, is a subtle but consistent decrease in meaningful communication. Now, I don't just mean arguing less, though sometimes silence can be louder than shouting. I mean the texture of your conversations changes. Remember how you used to share the little things? The funny thing the neighbor said, the frustration with the crossword puzzle, the memory sparked by an old song on the radio. Perhaps you notice those little bridges of shared daily life are less traveled. They might answer your questions, yes, but with shorter responses. Less curiosity about your day, your thoughts, your feelings. The conversations become more transactional, about bills, schedules, logistics, rather than connective. It's like watching a vibrant garden slowly lose its color. The essential structure might still be there, but the nuances, the fragrance, the life, it feels muted. You might ask about their day and get a simple fine. No details offered, no follow-up questions about yours. Or perhaps you try to share something important, something that excites or worries you, and you feel unheard. Their attention seems elsewhere, maybe on the television, their phone, or lost in their own thoughts. There's a lack of engagement, a feeling that you're talking at them, not with them. This isn't about one or two off days. We all have those. This is a pattern, a growing quietness where lively exchange used to be. It's the absence of shared laughter over silly things, the lack of seeking your opinion on matters big or small. It's a subtle withdrawal from the shared mental and emotional space you once inhabited so comfortably together. Pay attention to the quality of the silence. Is it a comfortable, companionable silence? Or does it feel heavy, vacant, like something is missing? That feeling, that subtle shift in conversational energy, is often the very first indicator that an emotional distance is growing. The second sign often follows closely or appears alongside the first. It's a noticeable reduction in physical affection and closeness. Now, intimacy changes throughout life, and that's perfectly normal. The passionate embraces of youth often mature into different forms of connection. But I'm talking about the small, everyday gestures of warmth that anchor a relationship. The casual hand squeeze while watching television. The arm around your shoulder while walking. A comforting hug at the end of a long day. Leaning against each other while reading. These small touches are the physical language of love and reassurance. They say, I'm here, we're connected, you're important to me. When someone is emotionally pulling away, these gestures often diminish or disappear. They might subtly flinch or stiffen when you reach out. Hugs become quicker, less encompassing, perhaps more obligatory. Hand-holding might cease altogether or feel limp, disconnected. They might start sleeping further away in bed, turning their back more consistently. It's not always a dramatic rejection of touch, but rather a gradual cooling. The warmth seems to recede. You might find yourself initiating most, if not all, of the physical contact and feeling a subtle lack of reciprocity. It's like reaching for a hand that doesn't quite grasp yours back with the same familiar pressure. This reduction in physical warmth can be deeply unsettling because touch is such a fundamental human need, a primary way we feel safe, loved, and bonded. It speaks directly to our nervous system. Its absence can create a profound sense of loneliness, even when you're physically in the same room. Think about it. Is the physical landscape of your relationship feeling colder, more distant? That change in the temperature of your physical interactions is a significant sign worth noticing. It often mirrors the emotional distance that's beginning to form. Now, let's talk about the third sign, which can be particularly painful: an increase in criticism and irritability. Suddenly, things that were once overlooked or even endearing quirks become sources of annoyance. Maybe it's the way you chew, the stories you repeat, your habits around the house. Things that were part of the accepted tapestry of your life together now seem to grate on their nerves. You might find yourself walking on eggshells, unsure what might trigger a sigh, a sharp word, or a dismissive comment. This isn't about constructive feedback or addressing genuine issues in a respectful way. This is a shift in their overall tolerance level. There's less patience, less grace. Compliments might become scarce, replaced by nitpicking or fault-finding. They might seem easily exasperated by you, even when you haven't done anything particularly wrong. It can feel like they are constantly looking for reasons to be displeased, or perhaps projecting their own internal dissatisfaction onto you. This increased negativity can be incredibly corrosive to your self-esteem and the overall atmosphere in your home. It creates a climate of tension and unhappiness. Remember, long-term relationships thrive on mutual acceptance and overlooking minor imperfections. We all have them. When that acceptance visibly erodes, replaced by consistent negativity and impatience, it often signals a deeper unhappiness or resentment that they may be unwilling or unable to articulate directly. It's as if the emotional buffer that love provides has worn thin, leaving the raw nerves of irritation exposed. Ask yourself, has the tone shifted? Is there more friction, less kindness in their everyday responses to you? This change in emotional climate is a serious indicator that something significant has shifted beneath the surface. It's not just a bad mood. It's a pattern of negativity directed towards you. The fourth sign involves a shift in priorities, specifically where they consistently choose to invest their time and energy away from the relationship. It's one thing to have individual hobbies and friendships. That's healthy. It's another thing entirely when their life seems increasingly oriented away from your shared existence. Perhaps they suddenly pour all their energy into a new hobby that excludes you, spending evenings and weekends engrossed in it. Or maybe they start spending significantly more time with friends, colleagues, or even family members, often making excuses for why you can't join or why they need that time separate. Work can become a common refuge, with longer hours or more frequent late nights at the office that don't quite add up. The key here is the pattern and the feeling behind it. Does it feel like they are actively creating a life that runs parallel to yours, rather than intersecting with it? Are you feeling increasingly left out of their plans? Do their explanations for their absence feel vague or slightly defensive? It's not just about having separate interests. It's about whether those separate activities seem to be systematically replacing the time and energy previously dedicated to the relationship. They might seem more animated, more engaged, more alive when talking about these outside activities or people than they do when interacting with you. It can feel like you're becoming a secondary character in their life story, rather than a co-protagonist. This deliberate redirection of time and energy is often a way for someone who is emotionally distancing to build a world where they feel less entangled, less obligated, perhaps seeking validation or excitement elsewhere because they are no longer finding it within the relationship. It's a subtle but significant way of saying, my focus is shifting. Notice where their energy flows. Is it consistently flowing away from your shared life? That divergence is a powerful, albeit quiet, sign. And that brings us to the fifth sign, a reluctance to talk about or make plans for the future together. Shared dreams and future plans are the glue that holds long-term relationships together, especially as we age. talking about retirement travels, planning visits to grandchildren, discussing downsizing the house, even simple things like booking a holiday for next summer. These conversations reinforce the idea of a shared journey ahead. When someone is emotionally checking out, engaging in these future-oriented discussions becomes difficult, even anxiety-provoking for them. You might notice they become vague or non-committal when you try to discuss future plans. They might change the subject, offer excuses like, "Let's not worry about that now," or simply give lukewarm responses that lack enthusiasm. Big decisions that require joint planning might be perpetually postponed. There's a subtle, or sometimes not so subtle, resistance to weaving your lives together further down the road. It's as if they can't envision that future with you anymore, or perhaps they don't want to. This avoidance isn't just about procrastination. It speaks volumes about their level of investment in the relationship's longevity. When the shared vision for the future starts to blur or fade from their side, it's a profound sign that they may be mentally and emotionally stepping back from the long-term commitment. It's like they're hesitant to put more bricks onto a foundation they no longer feel sure about. Listen carefully not just to what is said, but what is not said when the future comes up. That hesitation, that avoidance, can be a very telling silence. It suggests they are no longer navigating by the shared map you once both held. Seeing these signs, recognizing them in your own life, can be incredibly painful. It can bring up feelings of fear, confusion, betrayal, and deep sadness. Please know that these feelings are valid. It's heartbreaking to sense a growing distance from someone you love, someone you've built a life with. The first thing I want to emphasize is, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. These signs are data points, pieces of information about the emotional health of your relationship. So what can you do? Firstly, observe. Notice if these are isolated incidents or consistent patterns. We all have bad days or weeks. Look for the trend over time. Secondly, engage in some gentle self-reflection. Have there been changes in your own behavior or circumstances that might be contributing? This isn't about blaming yourself, but about understanding the whole dynamic. Then, if you feel safe and able, consider attempting a gentle conversation. Choose a calm moment. Use I statements. For example, instead of saying, "You never talk to me anymore," try, "Lately, I've been feeling a bit disconnected and I miss our conversations. Is everything okay with us?" Or, "I've noticed we don't spend as much quiet time together, and I value that. I was wondering how you're feeling about things." Be prepared that they might deny it, become defensive, or be unable to articulate their own feelings. This conversation might not fix everything, but opening the door, gently, is sometimes necessary. However, your emotional safety comes first. If initiating such a conversation feels unsafe or you anticipate a very negative reaction, perhaps hold back on direct confrontation for now. Crucially, seek support. Don't carry this burden alone. Talk to a trusted friend, a family member, a spiritual advisor, or consider seeking professional help from a therapist or counselor, either individually or as a couple if they are willing. Sometimes an outside perspective can bring clarity and guidance. Sharing your feelings can lessen the isolation and provide comfort. Remember, reaching out is a sign of strength, not weakness. And very importantly, focus on your own well-being during this uncertain time. Regardless of the outcome of the relationship, you matter. Ensure you're taking care of your physical health, getting enough sleep, eating nourishing food, engaging in gentle movement like walking. These things bolster your resilience. Nurture your own interests, hobbies, and friendships. Maintaining your sense of self, your own sources of joy and connection, is vital for your dignity and emotional health, whether the relationship improves, changes, or ends. Your life has value and purpose independent of your relationship status. Navigating the waters when love seems to be receding is one of the most challenging experiences in life, especially in our later years when companionship feels so essential. There are no easy answers, no magic formulas, but awareness, gentle communication where possible, seeking support, and prioritizing your own self-worth and health. These are your anchors. Remember the wisdom your own life has taught you. You've weathered storms before. Even in the face of this deep ache, there is resilience within you. Sometimes, acknowledging a painful truth is the first step towards healing, towards finding peace, whether that means repairing the bond or finding a new path forward with dignity and strength. Be kind to yourself through this process. Listen to your heart. yes, but also listen to the quiet wisdom of your own needs. Thank you for sitting with me today. Take good care of yourself.